Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a Chakras and Cusswords podcast. My name is Katherine, and today we are getting into the astrology that is going to occur in April of 2025. But before we do that, we are going to do a reflection piece, an overall little summary of some of the high energy moments in March, some of the areas of reflection in March, some of the movement that occurred with the collective, some of the viral topics, and some of the words that have been going around. It's definitely March. I don't know how to explain March. I feel like March was intense. March definitely had a lot of shifts. And for those who are wondering when I'm recording this podcast, I'm basically recording this podcast about a week early before I'm actually going to release it. And the reason why is because there were so many stories, there were so many topics I wanted to talk about, and I just felt like I could not contain or take in any more information. And if anything else happens, I'll reflect on it when we are reflecting on April. But for now, the topics I want to talk about are basically here. And the movement and the astrology from March is, for me, I'm done with it. Even though we do have some major moments occurring. So I'm recording on March 23rd. It is about 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm recording in the beautiful state of California. California. Man, what can I say about California? I feel like if you're not from California, you just don't get it. I feel like people come to California and, what do we have? We have this great, beautiful weather. We have high prices in taxes. And we have a very diverse population, which I grew up in California. I grew up in the Bay Area. I guess you could say I'm a kooky conservative liberal. Like I definitely have like some conservative values, but then I also have like some very liberal values. So I'm just all mixed up, people. I feel like the part with California that has really been difficult for some people is so many people hear about how these other states are like more affordable. And they kind of like put this area of like notion of how they could survive so much easier outside of California. And I think a lot of people actually do quite well when they leave California. It's just sometimes when your roots are born and raised and really like centered in a state, it's very hard to leave. I do have family who has left California, but they left California to go to New York, which is just as expensive. And it's just kind of like this weird, energy. Like you get a lot of, oh, you're a Californian. You get a lot of that. And then you also get like a lot of slack from like people who already like live here. Like they're like, don't you want to leave? Like, I feel like I want to leave. And it's just a weird energy. But California is absolutely beautiful. Do we have our areas that are hit and miss? Of course. But Californians, I like California. It's a pretty down to earth. We got this hippie mentality that some of us really stay true with. And my perspective was coming from a Californian who's lived in the Bay Area. So that's kind of the jive that I'm on. But I definitely love California. I couldn't imagine living somewhere else unless I was living like a fucking queen. Unless I was living like a fucking queen. Okay, let's stop. Okay. So March's astrology was very much centered off of like retrogrades, eclipses, and a big burst of energy as we entered Aries season. So March kicked off with the Venus retrograde in Aries around March 1st, bringing this fiery energy that had a little bit of a dynamic with the relationships and also could feel like some relationships were kind of strained. We also had then Mercury entering Aries on March 3rd, and the turning of the retrograde on March 14th, where we definitely seen a lot of debates. We definitely seen a lot of impulse. And what was funny is I think Elon Musk has definitely been suffering from this Mercury retrograde. That guy is not having a good time. And especially around the area of like social media and also like electrical cars. And we're going to get into that. But there's definitely been some like impulsive decisions and some miscommunication. And a lot of people are feeling like, whoa, this is intense. Or, whoa, this movement is strong. We also had the lunar eclipse in Virgo on March 13th. And there was a lot of criticism. There was a lot of energy around our Congress, government, basically Trump and Elon. Do they know what they're doing? That is like the mass collective is like, we're kind of sick of these dudes. They're fucking shit up. And Trump, like I said before, this fool hasn't put that pin down for a very long time. He's been making a lot of cuts. With the government, with the Department of Government, and also with like education. So he's just been slashing things like crazy, which unfortunately means that a lot of federal workers and also a lot of government officials and state workers, a lot of people have lost their jobs. So that's not good. And I'll be honest, it sucks, right? To see people lose their jobs. And it sucks to know that there's people out there struggling who are now searching for jobs, and they're now searching for anything, right? And it just feels like there's a lot of displaced employees right now, and a lot of people definitely don't feel like he's making some of the right decisions. And then also we've had a lot of deportation with people from other countries who were here, and I guess you could say they were undocumented, they were illegal, they were here without permission, and Trump has deported a mass amount of people who he is saying are criminals, but a lot of, I guess you could say, advocates are saying they're not criminals, they just are here, they're just here undocumented or illegal. And I mean, if you're going to ask me my opinion on that, other countries aren't as lenient as us. So, but I do think that sometimes, especially if they are criminals or if they are affiliated with gangs, send them back. You know what I mean? Like if they're not doing what they should be doing for the country and not helping and not trying to work on their documentation, maybe they should, go home. And Trump even put out this ad, and he's basically like saying, and him and his crew, please self-deport, like so we don't have to send you back, and then you might have a chance of coming back in. But then people are saying, but if you get caught and we have to deport you, you ain't never getting back in here. And it's a trip, it's a trip, because we see some of the Americans moving to other countries because they feel like United States is so expensive. So we now have been hearing that, which has been going on for a while, that a lot of Americans are moving to like Mexico. But what's interesting is you can't live in Mexico for a long period of time. You have to fly back and forward. And the tariffs are just going crazy. The tariff, we got tariffs on Canada, we got tariffs on Mexico, we got tariffs everywhere. And I think something's going to happen when Neptune in Aries transits on March 30th, which really encourages us to like challenge outdated systems. So I don't know if these are the challenges of the outdated systems. But people are definitely having a lot of opinions and a lot of dialogue about it. And a lot of people are feeling that some things are very unfair and some things are fair. So there's definitely two sides of every story, and there's always like two perspectives, right? If there's not even more. Some people are feeling like Trump's doing the right thing. This is why people voted him in, was to make these changes. And some people are feeling like these changes are just too drastic. So let me know how you feel in the comments about this. Also, we have some big news, viral events that really occurred in the beginning of March. So there was a Stand Up for Science rallies, and protesters erupted across US and France over Trump's administration for cuts on scientific research. And, you know, like I said, these cuts are occurring like everywhere. And a lot of people are feeling the raft of this. A lot of people are feeling losing their jobs, saying that we're not, you know, paying tribute to certain areas of research, certain areas of advances. You know, Elon Musk, I think he had his SpaceX little rocket exploded too in March. I can't remember the exact date, but I know it did explode, and a lot of people are saying, you know, can he stop? Can he stop? But then he also helped those astronauts get back, right? So it's a lot of, you know, different opinions, a lot of different areas of controversy. Also, Israel airstrikes Gaza on March 18th. So that ceasefire did not last for long. A ceasefire ended with surprise strikes of killing over 400 Palestinians. So a lot of people are saying that, you know, they're just not releasing the hostages, and Israel is doing these airstrikes again. So definitely a lot of controversy about that. Michigan had a shooting on March 20th, and this is all around that area of like eclipse season and that area of the retrograde kind of heading direct, and a gunman opened fire at the Corewell Health Beaumont Troy Hospital in Michigan. So very unfortunate. Also, we had on March 20th, Trump suspends the Pennsylvania funding. This is where he's like taking out the Department of Government, and over $175 million in federal aid was cut over certain policies, transgender policies, and also the area of education definitely got a big cut. Also, we had the Tesla protest. So there have been tons of people protesting Tesla. They're basically like going in front of Tesla stores and doing like full-on protests. There's even people who are damaging and vandalizing Tesla vehicles. Tesla's stocks have been plummeting, and it seems like a lot of shareholders or a lot of people who are considered like the founders want Elon Musk, the CEO, to basically step down. I don't know if he will, but people definitely are not feeling him, and they're calling it like a Tesla takedown. And the fact that his shares, because Tesla is a good car, like for the most part, except for the Tesla Cybertruck. This Tesla Cybertruck has had a lot of issues and a lot of recalls, but most of the Teslas are actually pretty good cars, and they're electric, and people feel like they're better on the environment, especially if you have like solar. Most people want a Tesla, and they're very popular. But now Tesla drivers are actually saying that they're very nervous about driving their Tesla because they've been seeing that people more see it as like a political statement, saying that you support Elon Musk and you support Trump, which I don't necessarily think it's true, because I know people who own Teslas who do not support Elon Musk or support Trump. So I think Tesla's kind of getting the backlash, but I also think that Elon Musk should have thought about that, because the majority of his revenue comes from the Tesla cars. So I do think that that was something he should have thought about before he got so politically involved with the Trump administration. And people are basically saying like, Elon is like the vice president. So it's definitely, I definitely think that like vandalizing and creating direct harm to an individual's car, it's not hurting Elon, it's hurting the car owner. And that's very unfortunate because not all these people are politically involved with supporting Trump or Elon Musk. So definitely some controversy going there. And if you are thinking about like protesting Elon Musk, I would definitely say don't buy a Tesla. People have even turned in their Teslas and saying that they don't want to support him, so they don't want to be associated with their Teslas, so they just decide to turn it in. But we have to remember, Teslas have tons of cameras. So don't make a bad decision like vandalizing a Tesla, then getting arrested and ruining your life. Because now Trump is saying that if you fuck with a Tesla, that is domestic terrorism and you are going down. And I feel like this administration is not playing. And I feel like if people do get caught, they might slap on that domestic terrorism charge. So be careful out there in those protesting streets. Also, we have Kanye West completely wilding out. I don't know what's going on with that dude. He's very mentally ill, and I feel like there's a Neuralink in him. I feel like there's been definitely some brainwashing going on. It's definitely some, what do they call that? Like reprogramming. This dude has never been right, and I think he's really showing hasn't been right for a while. Definitely some mixed feelings. Him and Kim Kardashian have been going through it. So Kanye West has a feud with Jay-Z. Basically right around this time, I would say last week, they basically started, Jay-Z hasn't replied. It's just Kanye. He basically called out Jay-Z and Beyonce's children, saying that they were special needs. And it just seems like he's just trying to rile up everybody. I completely blocked him. So when I hear about stuff, it's usually from news media outlets. I cannot with him. He's not going to ruin my peace, right? He's just a hot mess. So it's unfortunate, but he definitely has had some mental breakdowns reoccurring, and people are saying like, where is Britney's dad? Where is Britney's dad? This fool needs conservatorship. I think he wants to, I don't know, I should look at his chart, but I think he wants to get some type of attention. And the only way that he knows how to have attention is by creating like negative personas in the fact that he is mentally ill. And I think there's also some drug use going on. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West also have a public dispute over their children. So tension between Kim Kardashian and her ex-husband Kanye West have resurfaced publicly, primarily concerning the upbringing and the schooling of their children. What's interesting is like Kanye started to say like, this white woman is doing this with my black children. Excuse me, sir. You're the one who picks white women. Like, I don't understand why he's now using that, like basically saying she's trying to keep the black man down. Kanye, get a grip, because you're the one who chooses all these white women or Caucasian or women who you can't tell if they are mixed or, what's going on. So really that makes no sense. Get a grip, dude. Also, West has taken to social media to express his dissatisfaction with the decisions regarding their children and the education and other parental matters. So he's just been wilding out nonstop on social media, and these disputes have definitely attracted a lot of media attention because Kanye West was even sharing basically screenshots of him and Kim arguing. And he is even accusing her of sex trafficking, which is interesting because he was the one who I believe has a lawsuit with Diddy. So, but you know, birds of a feather flock together. And he's actually now like on Diddy's side, which is really weird because he's always said like he didn't like Diddy. I remember he went on like the Drink Champs and basically was saying F Diddy, and now him and Diddy are friends. And that's Diddy's only person who is showing him some type of support is Kanye West, which is very sad because Kanye West, he's not a reliable source. He's not somebody that you would want basically showing you support. It's like the guy who thinks he's a Nazi. Yeah, that's a great look. Okay. And then what's also interesting is there's a report that Kim Kardashian had to basically pick up Northwest because a security guard told her that Kanye invited over the Tate brothers, Andrew Tate and his brother. If you don't know, they've actually been charged with sex trafficking. So I thought that was very odd that Kanye is trying to have Northwest around the Tate brothers. He's very creepy. And I feel like people are really seeing how mentally ill he is and how sick in the mind he is. And he is definitely crashing out big time. So Kim, I guess, went and she's now trying to file for full custody of the children so she doesn't have to have the kids go over to Kanye's house. And what's also interesting is that she's basically saying that they're very, very worried about Kanye and his mental status. I will be honest. I feel like Kim Kardashian, there's a part of her that is just not as bad as Kanye, but she is bad. She exploits the kids. She's got, North doing all kinds of dances with Ice Spice earlier. She is trying to use the children to stay relevant. A lot of people think her kids are adorable. A lot of times she would use Northwest to pay some type of homage towards her dad. She would showcase it. And I think it's starting to backfire. And people are saying that Kanye's not well. He's probably not been well for a long time. And Kim continued to cover it up. And then they ended up getting a divorce. And then he had Bianca Censori controlling her. And then they're now getting a divorce. And now he's crashing out. So I feel like Kim also exploits the kids too. So I'm hoping this is like a wake up call. But mama manager Kris Jenner, she wants that money. And the only way she knows how to get it is by exploitation. Also, Kim Kardashian is getting a lot of backlash because around the mid-time of March, Kim Kardashian participated in a very, I would say it was a very provocative, I can't even say that word, provocative photo shoot featuring Tesla products, including the Cybertruck and the Tesla robot. She's definitely promoting this area of like AI and robots. She's done it numerous times. The images were shot by photographer Stephen Klein, who basically had Kim Kardashian like all over the Cybertruck and having like a very intimate setting with this Tesla robot. It's like she's promoting this time to get rid of the humans and just have robots, because let's be honest, I don't think she's gonna be able to find a relationship that isn't artificial. And people are saying that she's tone deaf. They're saying that she's not with what people are going through. And they're saying, all these people are basically causing a lot of scrutiny towards Elon Musk, and also with the Tesla company. They say Tesla resembles Elon, and they're basically accusing Kim Kardashian being as insensitive and highlighting a lot of controversy surrounding Tesla business to basically just make a political stance or to just make some type of controversy so people will engage with her post. It's quite sad. Another very sad story that took place was Sudiksha Konanki, the disappearance, I hope I said her name right, about the young girl who was in, I believe she was in the Dominican Republic, and it is believed that she drowned or she went missing. I plan on looking more into her story. I will tell you that when I saw her story on the news, it just made me think of the Natalie Holloway story. Very sad. But it sounds like they're just going to call it a disappearance from possibly a drowning. So it's very, very sad story. Very sad story. And, you know, she was drinking on the beach, and then there was like a power outage. Some people are saying, was she sex trafficked? Was she kidnapped? And it all appeared that she was very intoxicated. I just don't understand, like, why now do people just leave each other on these trips? Like, you know, there's no girl code anymore. There's no, like, why would her friends leave her? But I guess they were all probably intoxicated too. So very, very sad. So let's get into the astrology for April. So we have to remember at the beginning of March, the beginning of April, end of March, we have that area of Neptune going into Aries. So that's going to be a very interesting energy. Also around April 4th, we have the Mars in Cancer trine Saturn in Pisces, where I feel like this is a good time to really organize efforts to achieve some areas of movement that can feel aligned in self-worth and also boundaries, and that energy of having that spontaneous nature around the feminine. So that's a good day to look at. Also, that day there is a Mars in Cancer sextiles Uranus in Taurus as well. So that's definitely a good time to work on areas of manifesting, even though we are in the shadow season, but that's okay. Then also we have the areas of April 6th, which is definitely some energy. So the first week of April definitely has like this energy that feels a little bit romantic. It feels a little bit subtle. It feels a little bit beautiful, like delicious. Like it kind of has like this delicious feminine vibe to it, because we also have Venus and Pisces trines Mars in Cancer. So to me, this seems like a good area of relationships, also feminine, and areas around the home and the home life, and getting a little bit creative in our areas of the relationship and also our areas of spiritualization as a whole with the collective of our partner. And then we have the Sun in Aries sextiles Jupiter in Gemini. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of conversation around achieving goals, achieving long-term plans with relationships, also self, also movement of emotions. So it's definitely a very delicate and charming kind of energy in the first area of April. Also around April 7th, we have Venus in Pisces conjuncts Saturn in Pisces, which this feels a little bit interesting. It feels a little bit centered about like romance, but then it also feels a little bit centered around like fantasies and dreams, illusions, and also like reality. The reality of the relationship, the reality of communication, the reality of seeing different perspectives, and also seeing perspectives of certain unions. Also, April 7th, like the first week of April is very high energy day. April 7th is definitely a high energy day. We have Mercury direct in Pisces. So Mercury finally goes direct, and it is creating this area where maybe, you know, we're going to start to think a little bit more clearer. We're going to have more areas of communication around our goals. We're going to have more areas about creating success with the consciousness versus being in like this cloudy section of our lives, right? Also, we have Venus in Pisces sextiles Uranus in Taurus, where I feel like there's going to be an area of energy that is allowing us to express maybe around finances, and also to express around relationships, but also to express the area of accomplishments. So definitely have that movement centered around you. Then right around April 12th, we have the full moon in Libra occurring. And there's no eclipse tied to this full moon. So I would definitely use this energy as creating some space around a balance. I feel like the energy around the first week of April is really much centered around relationships, and also using this energy as we transition over to April 12th is seeing everything that we learned from the first week, everything that we've discovered in the first week. And if it's been sitting right with us, then we can continue to feed that energy. We continue to grow that energy. But if we also see that like this energy of relationships and this energy of maybe boundaries, guidelines, and movement kind of didn't sit well with us, it's definitely a time with this full moon that we might want to use that illumination to create some type of balance and harmony, not just with the relationship, but also the area of justice and judgment and the factors that have been weighing on the relationship. So definitely look at that. We have to remember that while we are in the sign of Aries and everything is about me, I want, I need, I have, that area of that one individual, that energy of Libra is asking us to kind of balance it out. Also around this time, we have Venus direct in Pisces on April 12th. So definitely the retrogrades are coming to an end slowly but surely. And it is a time that we are going to see this movement that might feel a little bit like it's time to rebuild. And also there is a time to bring like peace. There's a time to choose wellness, choose the awareness, choose the consciousness of certain aspects of relationships, and also certain aspects of how we see ourselves in a spiritual presence, how we see ourselves around others, and allowing that energy to lay with us, and also allowing the energy of forgiveness for whatever reason. If it could be like incidences that have occurred with self, or incidences that have occurred with others. Then on April 14th, we have Juno retrograde enters a Scorpio. And I feel like this energy might be a little bit like, it might be a little bit, Juno retrograde, I feel like it might be a little bit centered around breakup. I also feel like it might be centered a little bit around people feeling controlled. And also with the area of Scorpio, it might have some areas of like hidden deep desires kind of showing. And it's kind of like where we might feel like a little bit jealous, and then we have to wonder, are we really jealous, or are we being a little insecure? So definitely look at that energy with a grain of salt. Definitely, I would say that this is also a time that you would want to look at, are you being controlling? Sometimes I feel like I could be a little controlling. Also on March 15th, we have Mercury enters Aries. Mercury enters Aries sounds like very spontaneous, with the energy of words, with the energy of movement, with the energy of confidence, where people might be very initiative on areas of self, and areas where it might feel like there's a lot of arguments, but it might also feel like there's a lot of like quick tempers where people are like, boom, boom, this is how it is. Boom, boom, this is what I want. Boom, boom, and this is what I need. And for some, we might not be able to hear that because we don't feel included. So while we want to have confidence with our words, we also want to have that energy where we are able to take a breath, acknowledge, and see how other people are interpreting our words. And I feel a little tongue-tied right now. Okay, so then on April 7th, we have Mars enters Leo. And I feel like this Mars enters Leo definitely will have this energy that feels very solar plex heavy, and will be centered in areas of passion, pleasures, and being fully like illuminated, where we might feel that little burst of confidence. We also have on April 19th, Sun enters Taurus, where this sun switching over from being in Aries, moving over to Taurus. It's going to be interesting on the area of productivity, especially with everything that has been going on with like materials and tariffs and areas of like distribution. But also with the sun enters Taurus, I think a lot of us are going to feel a little bit more productive, feel a little bit more productive towards others, feel a little bit more productive in our energy of creating certain things, where maybe with the Aries, we were feeling more selfish in our inner space versus this Taurus energy might have us outside more, might have us gardening more, might have us centered around being centered to closely transition into summer. Also on April 20th, we have Venus in Pisces sextiles Uranus and Mercury in Aries sextiles Pluto in Aquarius. So I definitely think with this energy, there is going to definitely be a time that we're going to want to evaluate, and also we're going to want to look at aspects of what can occur with change, and if that's change in ourselves, or if that is change with others, or if that is change with maybe our residents, travel, but there is some area of change that may occur around this time. And also what's interesting is April 20th is definitely a high energy day because 420, baby, but not just that. It's also Easter for those who celebrate. And then also we have the sun in Taurus squares Mars in Leo. So this makes me feel of like something sudden and also something like a little bit aggressive. And something that's like breaking away from old routines. I definitely think that individuals might find themselves being able to kind of be battling some of their own areas of challenges, and sometimes with such a high energy aspect, it might even give individuals like this push effect to just kind of like do something aggressive. And I don't necessarily know if this aggressive movement is like a positive, but it definitely feels very centered around creating new movement that feels assertive, aggressive, and very fixed. So if something's been very like stubborn, or something's been very like fixed in its ways, I definitely see that you're going to be battling with this, or the collective will be battling with this as a whole. On April 23rd, we have Sun in Taurus squares Pluto in Aquarius. Similar energy, not as fiery, not as explosive, more on challenging authorities and challenging the old outdated systems that we're used to. That's kind of been the theme ever since Pluto has entered Aquarius. There's definitely been, as people would say, like a revolution. People are being more aggressive on some certain systematic occurrences, some certain areas of solid movement that hasn't changed in the last 20 years. So it's definitely a time that you're going to want to plan. You're going to want to see what challenges could occur, what challenges are occurring, and how you could stay successful, how you could stay current, and how you can move and also adapt to these new challenges. Right around this time, we also have Mars in Leo opposing Pluto in Aquarius. Definitely stubborn energy with that. And then we have the new moon in Taurus, which this new moon in Taurus is not aligned with an eclipse. So this new moon in Taurus is about the areas of desires, the areas of growth, the areas of making that growth and making that happen. So it is definitely a new moon that you're going to want to set intentions around having some good things come your way, and also looking at how you can create good things to come your way. How can you put in the work that goes with it besides just dreaming of it, right? I feel like once we left that energy that the Pisces has been, we see what we're dreaming. Now this area of Aries is showing us Yes, we could do it. Now the area of Taurus is basically showing us, but how are you going to do it? Where are you going to put those steps in? How are you going to move forward? And then we're on April 30th, we have Venus enters Aries. Venus enters Aries feels spontaneous. It feels romantic. It feels assertive. It feels, I guess you could even say a little passionate. It definitely feels fiery with the relationships. So it would be definitely a time to really look at new adventures in the relationship. Also new adventures with self and beauty and confidence. Definitely work in some sex magic, work in some areas of confidence magic, beauty magic, glamour magic, whatever it is that you want to call it. Mirror magic. Mirror magic is so powerful. I want to say Venus enters Aries is so just centered around that area of movement. I was watching this podcaster, and she was talking about how she sees her Venus return almost like as a birthday, because she really concentrates like on self-care, and she really concentrates on confidence right around the time that Venus enters her sign, right? So for instance, let's say you're a Venus in Aries, so this would be like your Venus return. So you would definitely be centered on feeding that energy back into yourself. We have to remember that Venus in Aries is considered like a detriment, because Venus doesn't necessarily like to be in Aries. It would much rather be in like the energy of like Libra or Taurus, right? But Venus in Aries definitely has that area where it feels a little bit obstacle-y with the relationships, but it also can make you feel a little bit centered around enjoying those movements with the confidence that sometimes is very hard to find. So I want to thank everybody for listening to this podcast. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know how you feel about the upcoming astrology and some of the energy for April. Do you feel like it's going to be better? Let me know your thoughts and opinions about everything that's going on with some of these topics. The area of the Tesla protests, like that's wild. Also the area of movement of what has been occurring all around us. Kanye, do you think Kanye's headed just down? Is he ever going to get better? Let me know what you think in the comments. Everybody have an amazing day. Bye.